This is episode 2 of my ultimate clock guide to get from beginner to expert, how to disassemble, lubricate, and tape mod a Qi clock to make it perfection. The lubrication will make the clock feel significantly better and much more easy to turn, and the tape mod just gives a little bit more flexibility, just like here where I remove the screws and put tape in. For the general disassembly, lubrication, and reassembly, you're going to need a screwdriver. I just use the generic more used screwdriver. You're going to need any choice of silicone lubricant. I use Comet, and then of course some tissues to apply the lubricant. And then if you want to do a tape mod like I did on this Qi clock, you're going to need scissors and tape. With that being said, let's get started. 1. Disassembly. For the disassembly, all you need is your screwdriver, and I recommend having some plastic bag to keep all your small parts, specifically the screws. Alright, so we're going to start by getting our screwdriver and taking out these 4 screws. This should not be that hard. Just put it in and turn. Once you loosen the screw enough, this back thing should get loose. If you just unscrew it a bit more, it should fall out pretty easily. There we go. So you have one piece here. Again, make sure to not lose it. If you're not planning on doing the tape mod, then you don't really have to take these bolts out, as you just need to loosen it enough so you can take it off. As you can see, like this clock is now separated like that. And if you can pull it apart, then that's enough. But if you want to do tape mod, you should be removing these bolts. Sometimes you might not be able to get the bolt out, and that's okay. We can also do that later. So now, really important thing, when you take this clock apart, there are going to be basically 2 layers of clocks, and try not to take anything out, because even though the clocks look really similar, each one has slightly different magnet strength or configuration, so we cannot mix up our clocks. We're going to put them in different piles. So carefully pull the clock apart. It might take a bit of effort, but just basically go around slowly like this. And there we go. So this is our front cover. We're just going to put it to the side. Now, as you can see, we've also dislocated some of these screws, so we can take these out nicely like that. Now we're going to take this main clock face out. So same thing, we can just pull this off nicely. So I'm just going to take this out of its case. And now, as you can see, these screws are going to fall out nicely. We can just pull them out. And they should be able to push out opposite of the long end. So the long end's here, we should be able to push it this way and take it out. That's out. I'm also going to remove the bolts, which should not be that hard. Basically poke them out from the opposite end. So I have my screw. Alright, that's a bit of a dramatic way of doing it, but if you're struggling to do that, one of the random way I found is to actually do it on the opposite. So we've been pushing here. We could also just like kind of hook it on like that, take it out this way like that. And I have a plastic bag where I'm going to put all these spare parts in. So before I mentioned that we're going to have to separate the different pieces of the clock, we're going to do that now. We no longer need our screwdriver, but our main parts here. We're going to take this apart. This can be pretty difficult sometimes. So now that's been done, we're going to go sort all these clocks. Now we have our corner clocks. These are the thick ones that have 2 sides on each side. So these ones are pretty obvious to figure out. We're going to go put these over here, corner piece. These ones are pretty easy to see, so they're not the problem. The main ones you're going to have to find are the center clocks, because the edge clocks and the center clocks have slightly different magnets. So as you can see here, we have this clock in the center, this face here. This is a center clock. So we're going to take this out and we're going to put this in a separate spot. And the same thing here. We've got our center clock here, which is the one that we're going to need. So I'm going to take these pins out, grab this and put it over there. So you can take the pins, put them over there, and now we've got all our edge clocks. These ones are all the same. Alright, so now the disassembly is done, it's now time on the cleaning and lubricating phase. 2. Lubrication. Okay, so to start the lubrication process, we're going to have to clean everything. Now this is not a mandatory step, but clocks can get pretty dirty. Dust can pretty easily get into these dials. So we're going to go clean it with a tissue. We're just going to go clean all the pieces. So for these faces, we want to just basically clean the face as well as on the insides of the clocks like this. And now we're going to do that with both sides. Now let's do the clocks. So we're going to try and clean as much as possible, including in between each of these dial slots here. Alright, now I'm going to go into the center pieces. These are these ones. Remember to keep them away from the edge ones. And we're just going to do the same thing. Alright, now we're going to clean the pins. And these pins are really important to clean because these make up for a lot of the lockups that you have in clock. Clean it like this. Sides. There should be 4 pins in total. Okay, and finally all the edge clocks. These are going to take a while. So now we're going to get our lubricant like this, and I'm going to get a new tissue. Instead of applying the lubricant to the pieces, we're actually going to apply lubricant to the face because that's actually where most of the friction comes from. So we're going to lube on top of the face and in between the circles as well. I like to put lubricant on the tissue. Yep. Alright, so I have lubricant now, and we're just going to apply this to the face of the clock. So I'm going to do this side first. Now, if you are using quite slow lubricant, then I would recommend not putting too much, but definitely you also want to try to get inside these circles like this. So that's one side down. Now we're going to do the second side, like so. One tip is if you want the lube to distribute a bit better compared to using a tissue, you can also actually just put a clock in, for instance this one, and we can just put it in here and just spin it around. I don't personally do this, but that is an option. Now that's the main part of the clock lubrication done. But one final thing is you can also lubricate the pins. Obviously we don't want to lubricate these parts because these are the parts that you're going to press down and you do not want. But what you can do is lubricate these sections in between. So what I might do, for instance, is I might put a blob of lubricant here, put it in here, and that should break in with any clocks that are there. 3. Assembly. Okay, so it's now time to reassemble the clock. So the key thing here is making sure the right color matches the right side. For instance, on our white face here, we want the clocks to be blue because we want contrasting colors. Hence we put our blue centerpiece here on our white face, and we're going to make this face 12, indicated by these 2 dots here. So we're going to go put this towards 12. And we can actually also put in one of our cases as well. The case is not direction dependent, so you can just put this in any direction you want. And you should hear a snap sound and everything should fit nicely. These pins should be able to go down. And now we're going to go with our edge clocks. Remember, you should have separated your center and edge clocks. We have our edge clocks here, and we're going to again put them all facing 12. And remember, we have our blue clocks for our white face. Blue edge pieces for our white side. We've got our pins of the blue facing on the white side as well. And now we're going to add our corner pieces. Remember, for our corner pieces, we have both clocks on one piece. Therefore, we just need to be careful putting this in the right direction. So blue face down for the white, just like that. That means we have got our white face up. So when we put our blue thing like that, that's going to be white. And that matches perfectly. So we're just going to keep doing this. That is this side of the clock done. Now you should have a few edge pieces left and one centerpiece, which is this is my centerpiece. We're going to get our blue side and we're just going to do the same thing. Since this clock is magnetic, we should be able to pick it up, and that looks like a good clock. Now we can combine it with this side quite nicely. As you can see, this can fit right on top and that'll complete the clock. Making sure everything's aligned. We're going to put these holes through these pins. That clips magnetically, and we're just going to push down all together. Make sure it's properly connected on all sides, so you should hear a click. We're nearly done. Just got our face to put on top. This should nicely line up. Press it down firmly, and there we go. That should hopefully turn so much better. Mine is already turning so much faster, and I haven't even broken it in. 4. Tape mod. So now it is your choice. You can either just leave it like this and put the screws back in nicely, or you could tape mod, and that's what I'm going to do. So the final part of this tutorial is going to be how to tape mod, and it is pretty simple. You basically need scissors, you need tape, and we're just going to put tape on each of these. The reason you do that is clocks can feel a bit more free and less restrictive once you have tape on them. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Now I use sellotape for this. You can really use any type of tape. I'm going to cut a tiny bit of tape off. Try your best to make it as straight as possible. I'm not the best at this, definitely. Yep. I'm going to cut off any excess tape. And that's one side done. And it's easy as that. So there we go. That is a lubricated tape modded clock. It feels so good. It's also quieter a bit. It really makes a big difference. I really hope that helped you understand how you can make your clock more competitive through the hardware. Obviously, clock hardware is not perfect at the moment, and there's a lot we can do in terms of modifications. And this is just one simple way you can turn significantly faster without much effort. So that really concludes the introduction of this guide from how to get to beginner to learning everything about clock. Next episode, we're going to start talking about some of the beginner methods, including beginner's method first, and then going on to 10 move memoryless. Anyway, that's really it for this video, and I hope you guys enjoyed. See ya.